Video editing using Linux. For this screencast of Total OS today, I thought I would take some brief moments and show you how I do some of my videos for YouTube using some of the free Linux software applications. For this particular one today, I'll be using two applications in the Ubuntu version of Linux. Well, first up, the very first thing that I use to do a screen session is an application that you may have heard of, and for this I'm just going into the K menu in Ubuntu Multimedia, record my desktop. This is a very good app to use, simple even for a Windows user like myself. This is the main screen here, or main menu for record my desktop, and briefly I'll show you how I do it. The video and sound quality settings are set at 100. Click Advance. The temporary working directory /temp is fine. Performance, the default setting here is 15 frames per second. That's okay. Sometimes I'll drop it down to 10, but I think 15 is probably the minimum that you would want it at. And code on the fly, well, I would not click this unless you have a very fast computer, dual core, quad core, and stuff like that. As far as zero compression, this is the default setting. I would click this. Quick subsampling, it says here this option, if enabled, will cause the program to require less processing power, but it might make the colors look a bit more blurry. I've tried this both ways. I really haven't noticed that much of a difference, at least not yet. As far as the full shots at every frame, I do not click this. This has something to do with recording 3D windows, which I do not do. As far as the sound, this is probably the #1 issue Windows and maybe some Linux users have had trying to set up the sound board on their operating system using Record My Desktop. As far as the channels, the default setting is 1. I leave it there. I haven't had any issues. Frequency 22050. Again, that's how I'm doing this screencast. Device setting. This is probably the #1 issue here. This can be either default in capital letters. It can be default in smaller case letters. It could be the word pulse. It could be, I believe, HW :0, 1, or vice versa. So you may have to experiment with the sound setting where it says device and then typing in here the appropriate words, whether it be default, higher caps or lowercase, or maybe pulse, or again HW :0, 1. Miscellaneous setting, this is the default setting. I do not touch these normally. So that's what I use to record this screen session, really all of them with Record My Desktop. Now I must say that I am using Ubuntu, the previous version, which is Karmic Koala, because it runs much faster than the newer version of Ubuntu, which is Lucid Lynx. I'm not sure what happened, but I'll just give you an example. If I do, say, a 10-minute video using this software, the transcoding process can take, I don't know, 30-40 minutes or more, which to me is completely unacceptable. So I've been forced to use the previous version of Ubuntu, which is Karmic Koala, which is fine. It seems to be okay. It's stable. And when I get done with this video transcoding this, it's actually pretty zippy, which is the way a Windows user like myself wants it. Sometimes Windows users have zero patience. I do. I think you need some form of patience to learn any kind of new operating system. Okay, as far as any video editing, another application that you might be familiar with, again, I just go to the K menu file, Kdenlive video editor. From what I understand, this is the premier video editing application for Linux. I've tried a few others, PTV, OpenShot, and a few more. They just didn't seem as friendly to use as this is. Kdenlive is not 100%, but it works most of the time. The nice thing about Kdenlive here is when you click render, you have lots of options to render your file: HDV, RAW, AVI, MPEG, XVID, H.264, which apparently I do not have the codec downloaded to render it to this. I generally, if I do this, I'll probably render it to Flash, although you can use Real Video and Theoria. I usually use either Flash or the MPEG format to render the video. Again, this works terrific in Karmic Koala. It's very zippy, but if I was video editing this particular screencast in Lucid, my 10-minute video to render to the proper format that I choose, such as Flash, would take maybe 50 minutes or more, and to me that is completely unacceptable. Apparently I'm not the only one having issues with video editing in the new version of the Ubuntu OSs. I'm not sure what happened, but they as far as the video editing portion, seems to me they screwed that up. Anyway, but for Karmic, as I'm doing here, this actually works pretty zippy, faster than Windows, I must say, even though I use Windows. But anyway, this is what I use to record and to transcode my video sessions to the proper or to the format of my choice. That being said, if you're going to use these kind of pieces of application, if you're starting off doing YouTube videos, probably the best advice I can give you is make sure you give yourself lots of time, patience, and you need to experiment. Sometimes the videos that you do, it may crash either in Record My Desktop, or you may have some bloopers, or something may happen in Kdenlive and you may have to start over, redo it, re-edit it. It can be a rather long and frustrating process. So again, if you're going to take a crack at doing YouTube videos, make sure everything is as perfect as possible, such as the sound quality, volume, the video, gathering your thoughts so that it makes sense. If you're going to add some humor, stuff like that, because look, if your videos aren't going to come out as professional as possible, I don't think people are really going to show much interest in looking at them. At least I'm not, but that's my personal opinion on that. Anyway, that's it. Just a brief introduction on how I do these screen session videos using Record My Desktop and Kdenlive using Karmic Koala versions of either Ubuntu or even Linux Mint for that matter. And of course, those of you who follow me on my YouTube channel, sometimes I'll do these screencasts in Windows XP. It's not as fast, but it seems to be a little bit more stable than the Linux counterparts. Anyway, that's it. Thank you for watching this particular screencast on screencasting on Total OS today. Thanks.